today's video is about 7 important keys that will be useful for you as you're trying to learn Spanish. So let's get into it. Key number 1 is setting goals for yourself. This holds true for learning languages or just for getting anywhere in life in general. You have to set goals for yourself if you want to get anywhere in life. And that is true for all domains in life. People who never set goals, they never achieve anything, or they achieve very little, the minimum, as it were. So the importance of setting goals cannot be understated, and that doesn't matter if it's language learning or something else. So find goals for yourself that are achievable. They should be challenging, not impossible, but definitely so they are challenging enough. And what you can also do is have minor goals on the way and then have like a bigger or major goal later on. Let's say you want to travel somewhere in 6 months. Okay, so that's your motivation right there for taking classes, for reading, etc. Or you want to be able to read your favorite novel or whatever that you loved, that you read Crime and Punishment in Swedish, and now you want to read it in Spanish or whatever. Make sure that you set goals frequently, and that will drive you towards your goal, and then have also larger goals further on your road, as it were, so that you will keep staying focused, staying motivated, so that you have something to move towards. Key number 2, do conversations online. So this could be on various platforms. This could be if you have a friend that happens to be a native, or you could try to use some of those free platforms or sites where you can just talk with people. But I would say pay for classes. That is the best, because you tend to get a better teacher or tutor or whatever it is, and you will also take it more seriously if you actually have paid for it. So do classes online as soon as possible. Use a platform like Italki or whatever you want to do. I'm not sponsored by them, but you can use whatever platform you want to. I think Italki is still the major one. So use that one and start with classes right away. Like, you don't need to be intermediate or advanced. Like, when I started Spanish, I started from 0. And in class 1, I was already like doing Spanish. I could barely speak a Spanish word, and I was using my old Italian that I hadn't studied, by the way, for 7 years before. But that is partly why I progressed so much in a month, because I started with conversations very early on, and I did probably three times a week, sometimes 4, maybe the first month. And I jumped from not speaking a word of Spanish basically to probably a B1 level in just a month. And that was by doing conversations classes only online. So that works. And it's also, I also find these classes very, they're motivating, they're fun. It never feels like you're studying, at least for me. I guess in one way you're doing something so in a sense it is studying, but it's not like doing grammar for 30 minutes, you know. These conversations are fun. You learn about yourself, the world, you engage with someone while learning Spanish. So I can really recommend doing classes, and don't be afraid that, or like, it's gonna be too, I'm not good enough, blah blah blah. Just let go of those fears. Just confront your fears and do it. You know, it's gonna help you so much. And what I also felt like that really helped me a lot was when I recorded my classes. So some tutors, they might say no. So what you can do is you can send messages to people before and ask if they would be willing that you could record the classes. Sometimes people have not didn't want to do that with me, so I've tried to stay taking classes with people that would allow me to do it. But I can tell you that for me, recording them has been useful. That is a good way to rewatch them afterwards. You can see what mistakes you did. And you get 1 hour more of input, right? So recording them, I feel like is a good idea. It is also a great way to see. I mean, you don't have to start a channel like I did, but it's a great way to see how much you progress as well, which again will be a motivating factor. So if you record and then again you someday, a rainy Friday, you watch what you did after 3 months, or you watch a video that is 6 months later or 1 year later, and you can see like the immense progress that you have made. That's gonna be useful for you. So my advice: do conversation classes online on a platform. Try to find someone to that you can record the classes with, rewatch them, and then once in a while watch your old videos to just see how far you have gotten. My third key that I really can recommend you is doing a Spanish course. So that might be a university course, upper secondary school, something you pay for or whatever. But I would say it's a great way to find motivation to do something. So if you're like me, that you kind of don't want to study, especially when you don't need to, like my Spanish is not yet at an advanced level. I would say probably B2, and it could have been higher if I have decided to study this year and a half. But I decided to go with my online classes and then travel to Colombia and Mexico, and I'm content with that because I could enjoy life, I could interact, I could have fun. It was not much of a limit, so that's why I wasn't motivated to study hours every day. So for me that was hard. Now, however, I've decided that I also want to be a Spanish teacher. So for me, now I need to do these courses, right? So I'm gonna do one now in phonetics, and there's also one grammar course. So I'm gonna do 2 courses now, basically studying on 50%, and then hopefully soon find a job as well. So this means I at least a little bit have to study in order to pass these courses. And then fall, I'm gonna continue do 2, and then the next year in the spring, I will do my last 2 courses. I need about 45 credits, so that's about 9 months full-time studies, 1.5 months half-time studies. So for me, who don't like to study, that is a great way for me to make sure that I at least do something, that I attend some classes. I mean, I won't buy the books, but they have PDFs and so forth, right? So I need to go through this. I need to read through the phonetics and all of that, right? And on Friday there was like a shorter exam, etc. So for me, this is a way for me to actually do some reading and actually do some studying, which has been very hard, or it has been very hard for me to motivate myself when I didn't. There wasn't really a need for me to do it. But now, when I know that I want to be a Spanish teacher, I obviously want to be as good as a teacher I can be, have an advanced Spanish, be competent, be qualified. So that makes me take this a little bit more serious now, because I wanna do these courses and I wanna pass them with ease. Not only that, like, you never wanna be part of a course and be like the worst student. That's a horrible feeling, right? Today is super easy to take online classes at some university, right? My university is further up north, and I'm doing it online completely, getting my credits, and I will have a license in 1.5 years. So do yourself that favor, take part in a course or a university or whatever, do something of that sort. that will keep you learning, keep reading, keep studying, that will make you learn more Spanish. So key number 4 is do some kind of language test or sign up for a language test now or in the future, or do one now and do one 3 months later or 6 months later or a year later. I don't care. But sign up to something that will make you accountable and that will give you something factual that you can look at. This is how good I am. And then you can also do it later so you have something to compare to. That is a good way to stay motivated. So if you want to do something cheap, I can tell you about the one I did. I did the Italki language test. There are some different ones. There are the Oxford, that is very easy. At least it was for me. That is $10. But they had the Italki language test too. And as you can see here, I did it last year. Basically, when I came May, I was in Colombia then, I think. And I got a B1, right? And then I did it again a few months later, and I was already at a B2. Now, these are not... Obviously, tests like these have their limits. They are not perfect. They have a set of questions that they base something on, right? So this has a grammar component, and then there's also an audio. I found the audio not great because they speak and then they want you to basically remember really long phrases and so forth. And I'm not sure if that was... It could have been better. There were some limits, but for that price, for about, I don't know, $25, $30, it's a good way to measure your level and then do it again, maybe 6 months later or something like that I did, when I could see that, okay, I reached a B2. There was a difference, right? I had 2 tests that I could compare to. So I knew for a fact that I had a better result, that my Spanish had improved. So that is one way that you can do to make sure that you stay motivated. Of course, if you don't want to do that, and where you think, that's ridiculous, I want to do something real serious, like something, a real certificate or something that really shows you that you can use in your profession or in your CV, then you could do the Delhi exam, for example. That will really test you in all facets of the Spanish language. So 205 is not that bad. I think it depends a little bit on the country where you do it, but they have, in different major cities, they have this test. I know they had it in Bogota, for example. I was thinking about doing it already when I was flying to Colombia to do it there. You could decide to do just like the C1, that will only test if you have C1 level or not, or you can also test certain skills. But this is a good way to test your skills, or like have some actual evidence of what your level is. And I'm considering doing this next year. Next summer, perhaps, I might go, and I actually might combine it with going to Colombia, enjoying life for two months, and combine that with doing the C1. So that's some goals I can use to keep staying motivated, to do my courses at the university, etc. So look into that, doing some kind of language test. That would be my advice for you to make sure that you stay motivated. Key number 5. Make future traveling plans. So this could be either that you have decided that you're gonna go somewhere for vacation in a certain amount of time, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, or that you might actually be moving somewhere. So in my case, I was kind of in a semi-vacational mode, right? So I wanted to go somewhere for a longer amount of time, but I knew that it wouldn't be full time. I still couldn't do the move permanently. I knew that I still, at some point after a year or two, would have to go back to slave away in the capitalistic society, like most of us have to do, unless you have like 50 bitcoins. But Making plans at a future date is a great way to ensure that you are motivated for your studies or your learning in general. So that might be that you're going next summer somewhere, traveling somewhere. So you want to make sure that your language, your Spanish, is good enough to be understood in the streets of Mexico, or like when you go to Cancun, or you might move there in a year. So you want to make sure that you take your classes, that you study. So if you have a goal like that, that will help you in all of the other facets to do better. It will help you stay focused, right? So if you can find the money and the time to book a flight tickets, or you can wait and just know in your head that you will go. But if you make the decision and that you will be going somewhere or moving somewhere at a future date, that will make it easier for you to make sure that you stay focused and keep studying. Advice number 6 is to keep a diary. So this might be something very, very quick and easy, right? It doesn't need to be super high tech. But what you can do is just create a Google Doc, and you just write every day. You follow what you do every day. You write Monday, Tuesday, every day, Monday to Sunday, and you write down what you did that day. This is something that I have done sometimes in the past, for example, when going to the gym to do kind of like a logbook, right? You can go back and see what you ate, what kind of workouts you did, and so forth. You can do the same thing with learning languages. So you can create some kind of very simple diary where you write down every day what you did, Monday to Sunday. So you add up whatever you do. And what you can do, that is up to you if you just want to consider studying, looking at a textbook, but you can also consider every kind of input that you did in a day as studying Spanish. Like you can count out those minutes, right? So let's say Monday here, I did 30 minutes of reading. I listened 1 hour to podcast while I was commuting to work back and forth. Already 1.5 hours, right? And then I did 1 hour conversation class on Italki. This is just like a hypothetical situation. Already you're up in 2.5 hours, right? Perhaps you also recorded the video, and if you still had the energy, maybe you rewatched it afterwards. Well, then you got 3.5 hours. That's a lot of time in a year, right? So if you do this every day, maybe you add up to 20 hours, let's say. Let's say you get 20 hours in a week. That's a decent goal, right? That's 2-3 hours a day. Let's say 3 hours. Then you average about 20 hours every week. That is possible if you get in hours of the time when you're not in a room or when you're not in your house. If you listen to audiobooks, when you're on the bus, when you're driving in your car. Like, so you try to use the spaces where you have time in your life, where you have dead time, as it were, where you have the opportunity to listen to a podcast or do something that will help you get more input during the day. So let's say you average 20 hours a week. That is 1,000 hours in 1 year, right? So that's a lot of time. That's many hours. So that's how you should think about it. It's just an advice, but if you do this every day, you will see clearly how much time you're spending, what you're doing, and then you can just add it up every week. You can do the same with the months, and then you'll see, okay, amazing, I did 1,200 hours in a month, but I'm not happy yet. What can I do to improve even more? What changes can I make to make sure that I develop even more? Or the last and final key, number 7, is hold yourself accountable and be disciplined and set goals and make sure that you do what you have said that you were gonna do. So this is connected to what the number 6. But what I mean by that is, like, if you have decided that you're gonna study every 30 minutes every day, then you make sure that you do that. There is no exceptions. You have to be disciplined. Like learning a language is like going to the gym. You have to do it, if not every day, but you have to do it several times a week. You have to eat well. You have to sleep well. There are all of these. There is a myriad of things connected to it that will make sure that you reach your goals. So if set a goal, hold yourself accountable to that goal, to that time limit. So choose a time that you know you can do. That is a little bit hard, but if you have a really busy life, maybe you cannot do 10 hours a week, right? Maybe that's too hard to do 10, 15 hours a week. But everyone can do 30 minutes a day, right? And 30 minutes is better than nothing. So set an amount of time and make sure you do that every day. No excuses, right? And again, you can change what kind of things you do every day, right? But if it is only 30 minutes, I would advise you to do something that will be highly beneficial, like reading or taking a class. I think 30 minutes, I mean, watching a show is nice and fun, but passive learning like that is only gonna give you a little bit, right? So that I think watching a show should be more of a complement. So maybe if you're studying, you're reading 30, you're having a 30 minutes class, fine, you're doing an hour a day. Then maybe you'll also watch a show in the night or in the evening, so you get 2. But it should not only be watching shows, that should not only be the only input you get during the day or during the week. So my final and 7th key is make sure you hold yourself accountable. You decide an amount of time that you can do every day, and you make sure that you do it every day. No excuses. If you are really tired one day and you feel like, you know, whatever, I don't feel like studying today, I have a shitty day, I hate my life and my boss, and I want to strangle my boss, whatever, then do something. At least put on a show or something, read some, so you get some subtitles in Spanish. So at least you still fulfill your goal and not lied to yourself. You know, you did something, and you could still be proud that you're still working towards your goal. So that would be my final advice and final key to staying motivated learning a new language, and in particular Spanish. So I hope these 7 keys were, or possibly are useful for you. Maybe you've already tried some of these. Maybe you're already onto something or whatever. Like, we all are different on how familiar we are with learning languages. I've done the process a few times. I teach myself professionally normally in schools. So it's kind of my job to help students to develop. Obviously, it's a completely different thing when you are in a school or like a classroom setting. But I think I have learned about a thing or two of how you should attack this problem of being motivated, of getting good grades, or developing your languages in general. So I can only share my opinions and my experiences, and you can take it for what it's worth.